Hello YouTube. Today we have an iPhone 12 Pro. We're going to be doing a screen replacement on it. I am working on site outside the customer's house, so excuse the background noise. I'm in an apartment complex, so cars are driving by, and I'm by the beach, so it's kind of windy. But first things first, we need to heat up the screen. You can do this cold, but I have my handy heat gun. So we're gonna heat this up, pry the screen off. So now that it's warm, I always start at the bottom. Now keep in mind, on pretty much every iPhone previous to this, the board was on this side, so the flex cables were on this side. On this model, as you can see, actually you can't see because obviously it's still closed, the board is on this side, and the device opens up this way rather than this way, like every previous model. So usually, we start out with our iSesamo, but you don't want your tool to I'm at a loss for words. You don't want your pry tool to Alright, that bit was difficult. You really don't need to stick the pry tool in that far. No more than literally the distance from my nail to, which is maybe a couple millimeters. And then once you have the screen, one of the techniques that I have is I will twist, and it's sort of an easier way to get the screen to sort of lift up inch by inch rather than sliding, because if you don't feel comfortable doing that, then come here and I'll heat up the top portion, and you can sort of just finagle it back and forth until we get past. There are two brackets. They are right here. So let me get this off just a little bit. Right here and right there. Once it opens, we're greeted with this lovely sight. We use our Y000. I get mine from iFixit. They have, in my opinion, one of the best. They've been used bits, specifically Y000. Ever since the iPhone 7 came out, I had a tough time with stripped screws, and then there was a forum, somebody mentioned iFixit, and well, I went to iFixit and I haven't gone back. So I mentioned this in basically all of my videos, but the first and last thing that you connect is always, or connect and disconnect is always, the battery. In this model, the connector is right here. You can literally just use your fingernail if you don't feel comfortable doing that. You can use the flat or pointed side of your spudger. Once that's done, the two screen flexes are here and second one is here. Now, the ear speaker on this model is quite a bit shorter than pretty much every other model. So just be careful you don't accidentally tug it or yank on it. Last thing we want to do is, this is paired to Face ID functionality. So the last thing you want to do is have to replace the flex and then lose Face ID functionality. So there are 2 tri-wing here, 2 Phillips here. Obviously you know that because you're looking at the device. I'll mention this again when we put them back in, just so you don't put them back in the wrong order. As you should be able to tell, but the screws are a completely different size. So this one is much larger than that. These 2 look roughly the same size, but in my experience, always take them out and put them back in exactly the same order. So now we just need to warm up the area around the ear speaker proximity sensor. So I'll be right back. I'm going to warm it up and we'll remove this. So the ear speaker folds back pretty much with 0 effort. Then I lift up, I will pry up on my ear speaker. I just use the spudger. I sort of twist, use a twisting motion. Once again, you want to be careful to not accidentally tear. And we have this piece right here. Sorry, I need to make sure to center this properly. And it's on there with a little bit of adhesive, but just like that. So the adhesive is right here. For the proximity sensor, you would lift up just like this. And then I came in with my, honestly, I completely, it was 5 seconds ago and I somehow forget, but just there's a little bit of adhesive, lift up right there. And then the last bit of adhesive is right there. Now we can begin reinstall. So I don't have this on mine, but you do want to make sure, depending on how cracked, I mean, honestly, this one was pretty cracked right here, but I've seen this many times on other models where, depending on how cracked the glass is up top, sometimes the adhesive, or there can be glass that's stuck to these components. In which case, if you don't know to look out for this, then you won't know to remove it, and let's just say you'll have a hard time getting all of these components to sit properly. So just make sure you have no broken glass on your proximity sensor, your mic, or your ambient light sensor. Once we are here, it's just a simple matter of taking our, I always start with the proximity sensor. Then we can drop the mic in. And then last but not least, the ambient light sensor. Now, the next step involves obviously tightening all these down. Once again, there are 2 Phillips on the right, 2 tri-wing on the left. The smaller one is up top. I will mention this. This doesn't happen very often, but I'm human. I make mistakes. Be very careful right here. If you don't have a very good tri-wing, I mean, be very careful on all of them, because if your screwdriver slips, whatever bit you have slips, then you just as easily can puncture the underside of the OLED. And as of this writing, these screens are not writing. As of this filming, these screens are ungodly expensive. So make sure to use extra caution. Once we're here, same thing. You want to make sure that there's no broken glass that is stuck to the perimeter. What's this? All right, nothing. Same thing with the sides here. You want to make sure there's no loose screws. I've also done that, where a screw will get stuck to the Taptic engine or the speaker, and I forget to look, and then I go to close the screen, and maybe one corner sits up, and I think, oh, I'll just press down, and then you crack the LCD, or in this case the OLED, and, well, for me that's not the end of the world. I mean, I have to buy my, I eat the cost of a screen, but for you, obviously it's annoying, your phone's in pieces. Sorry for rambling on. Once again, make sure your battery is disconnected before the ear speaker or two flexes here. The larger flex, this top one, is, in my opinion, wide enough to, I wouldn't just press down in the dead center. Make sure to tap or press down right, left, or left, right. Last but not least, come in with your battery. Try not to tighten it all the way, because if you're not aligned properly, then you will need to loosen and retighten. There's a little piece, there's a little sort of hoop or whatever, not hoop, but there's a little sort of this, that area that I just pointed to. You have this bracket, so this little thing right here sort of has to tuck in. Don't just lay it down, it has to come in at roughly a 90-degree angle. So it's like it comes in almost at an angle. Not almost at an angle, it does come in at an angle. I like to do one corner and then another, so I know that it's aligned properly. We now have our screen. So we have, you want to make sure that your screen here is flush. Sort of hold down, and then press down on the left, then the right. Last but not least, our pentalobes. So for those of you who don't know, ever since the iPhone 11, Apple has been serializing the screens to the motherboard, main logic board, and outside of, essentially, from my understanding, transferring one or both of these touch ICs onto the new, or these ICs onto the new screen, which the majority of people won't be able to do. The majority of shops won't even be able to do this. Essentially, you're left with this message. It'll go away on the screen after a couple of days, so you can swipe. It'll pop up for the next couple of days. I don't have it on mine, but then its next step is that it'll revert to settings, and then after a while, it'll revert to about. And then it'll stay there, but at least it'll stop popping up on your main screen. It doesn't affect touch functionality. At least that's not an issue as of this filming. But yeah, I guess it's just Apple trying to make the third-party repair our lives more difficult. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that. If you like the video, make sure to give the video a like. If you got something out of it, let me know how your repair went. Leave a comment down below. Thank you so much, and see you next time.